In this excerpt from Building Blocks, I'm going to show you how to write a melody that's inspired by the way we speak. You'll see that as I inject different aspects of human speech into our melody, it just becomes more relatable. It turns into a melody that can connect to the listener. Now to do this, we're going to start with an arpeggiation. And this is like a melody that doesn't have any of those things. It's very repetitive and robotic. We're just taking the notes of a chord and we're repeating them up and down in a pattern. So how do we take this robotic, repetitive arpeggiation and make it more human, more expressive, turn it into something that we can relate to and connect to? Well, we do that with three key elements: space, variation, and phrasing. Let's talk about space first. So when I'm talking, I don't constantly say one word after another with no space, right? I don't talk like this with one word coming after another without ever stopping, without putting space in and just going on and 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 on. No, I put space in. For example, between sentences. This is the first sentence, and this is the second sentence. Sometimes I put space in the middle of a sentence. Maybe I put it right about there, right? We have space in our words. We give our ears, our bodies time to breathe when we talk. So that's the first thing you'd want to do. Take your arpeggiation, and let's put some space in it. I'm going to just eliminate two big chunks right here. Already much better. Okay, so that's space. Trait number two, variation. Now we already have variation in our pitch, right? Constantly changing pitch. So that's good, but our rhythm is very, very uniform and very repetitive. It's just one constant 16th note after another. And again, when I talk, all my words aren't exactly the same length, right? Some are longer. Sometimes I'm talking really fast. Sometimes I'm talking a bit slower, right? Our duration, our rhythm varies. So let's change up the rhythms. Like I want to get rid of these two so that I can make this one longer. Okay, that's already better. Let's compare. Still, I want a little bit more variation. I'm gonna make this one longer too. Move it down. There we go. That's much better. And I want to do the same thing to this phrase, but I don't want it to be the same as this. You know, part of the variation is, you know, making sure each little kind of phrase, each little motif is different from the other. So I'm going to start by actually moving it over. Let's see what we get. Okay, let's put a little space in, actually. Well, I like that. And I want to put even more space in. Let's go like this. A little duration. Much better. So you notice how while I was working on variation, I got some ideas about space. I went back to space. So it's a very fluid process, right? Just allow, you start with space, start with variation, but when ideas pop into your head, go with them. We're just looking to make this feel more like something that's being sung, more like, the way people talk. And that brings us to our third trait, phrasing. Phrasing puts the finishing touch on our melody. Spacing and variation, that gets us most of the way there in creating a very human melody. Phrasing is what finishes it off. It's the finer point of creating a great melody. Let me give you an example. Question and answer pattern of phrasing. Very common. So when I'm talking, and when many people talk, they'll often end a question on a higher note, like, what is your name? And then they'll often answer by ending on a lower note. My name is Joe. What is your name? My name is Joe. So you can take that speech pattern and use it in your melody's phrasing. And for this melody, that is as simple as raising the last pitch of this first phrase. So this becomes our question, and this is our answer. So let's take it back to what it was and compare. Every step we take towards making something more human, making our melody mimic speech a little bit more, the more life it gets, the more inspiring it is, the nicer it is to listen to. So because of that, when it comes to these sort of phrasing born from human speech patterns, there are an endless variety. I want you to listen to how people speak, particularly the pitch, rhythm, and space in how they speak. Here's another example. Let's say I list two statements in a row. I say this. This is the first statement, and this is the second statement. You've probably heard something like that before. The first statement's pretty plain. That second statement starts in a higher pitch and sort of emphasizes the beginning. This is the first statement. And this is the second statement. So I'm going to create a melody that mimics that phrasing. Let's start with something that kind of starts in our mid-range and works its way down. And then for the second phrase, I'm going to jump up and hang on that first note for a bit. Love it. So one way you can start to really dig into different phrasing patterns is, record yourself talking, or record someone else talking, or just go online and watch an interview with someone. Really anything. Just listen to how people speak and let their speech patterns inspire a melody. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, this is an excerpt from Building Blocks, our online music production and composition course. And if you like this video, there are tons more in Building Blocks. And the lessons also include interactive challenges in which you recreate drum patterns, bass lines, chord progressions, and melodies, as well as write your own in this online DAW that you're seeing here. Fully interactive. So if you're curious, head on over to audiblegenius.com and try it now.